Hello, in this video I want to have a look at the constellations of the Northern Hemisphere, how they connect to symbolism through the architecture and especially through mythology and the clash of the titans. This is a picture from the late 70s or possibly very early 80s version. The latest version was a mess, it missed out too much information, but here we see a few of the constellations, and on the very tail of the snake is the constellation Noctua, the owl, which is no longer considered an official constellation. So here we see the older art and how it's now missing. So between Libra and Virgo, Noctua is no longer there. But in the Clash of the Titans movie, the Gorgon, the snake-haired woman turning people to stone, and the legend of Perseus. Perseus, of course, is still a constellation, and you see him here holding the Gorgon's head. Also worth noting is the sword, the helmet, and the winged sandals which he's carrying there. Now, there's also a shield in the mix, but in this particular art it's not clearly visible, but each of these features Perseus received from some very important the other Greek gods, Perseus being the son of Zeus. But so if we see these older drawings of the Northern Hemisphere, they actually form a storyboard. They tell a story, and that story is especially relevant to Clash of the Titans, and as Rudyard Kipling said, if history was told as stories, it would never be forgotten. And that's one of the power and the beauty of the ancient legends, is that actually contain scientific knowledge. So as children we learn the stories, but as you develop you start to apply more. And so for instance, these are key parts in navigation, so the mythology, but the Perseus, the son of Zeus, the constellation you can see there. Now again, the sword, the winged sandals and the helmet all connect to other Greek gods such as Zeus, Hades, Athena and Mercury. But Perseus was tricked into a quest to kill the Gorgon. There's a few variations on the legend, so I'll keep it the simplified version. But to aid him along his quest, Perseus received a number of gifts from Athena, Zeus, Hades, and Zeus, of course. So the sword, the adamantine sword, was a gift from Zeus. All of these would help him overcome the Gorgon later on. Now, the shield he received from Athena. The winged sandals he received from Hermes. They enabled him to fly. Most people might think Perseus the flying horse, but Pegasus the flying horse, but that only come after he killed the Gorgon. And the helmet from Hades, helmet of invincibility. It might be worth going into explaining how the Gorgon or Medusa was cursed with the snakes in her hair turning men to stone. It was due to Athena. Now, Medusa was originally a beautiful mortal woman, but she slept with Poseidon or Neptune in the sacred temple. This enraged Athena, and so Medusa was cursed. I'll go into Sydney in much more detail at the end, but the Athena statue, a gift from the people of Athens in the year 2000. The sash has, again, the Medusa symbolism on the Athena, and also the State Bank building has the Doric, Ionic and Corinthian columns. So yeah, these are nice connections back to Greece. But to continue with the legend of Perseus, Perseus was able to kill the Gorgon Medusa without looking at her, by using the reflection of a shield given to him by Athena. Now, once he decapitated her, Pegasus sprung forth from the body. So he wasn't flying around, initially at least, with Pegasus. He was using the winged sandals of Hermes. And so then he began his journey home. But during this time, Cepheus and Cassiopeia, kings and queens, they had made a boast that Cassiopeia was more beautiful than the Nereids of Poseidon, Neptune. A curse was put on them, and the sea creature was going to destroy the city, and so Andromeda was chained to a rock and offered in sacrifice. Now, another couple constellations connecting directly to that, and especially to Poseidon and Neptune, is Delphinus. Delphinus, the dolphin. Initially, Neptune was trying to propose to Amphitrite, but she ran away, and the dolphin Delphinus found her and brought her back to Poseidon. In rewards, he was placed in the stars. Now, Poseidon's also the patron god of horse racing, and so we have the constellation Aquarius right next to each other. So you start to see how all these constellations actually connect through myth and legend, Greco-Roman gods especially. And yeah, so Poseidon had sent the sea creature Cetus, and it was going to destroy the city, and so Andromeda was chained to the wall to try and avert destruction for the city after Cassiopeia had been said to be more beautiful than Nereid. So another graphic, so you can Neptune's chariot is drawn by the seahorses, and also Delphinus the dolphins will be riding out in front. So it's one of the standard images. Now the Poseidon, offended by Cepheus and Cassiopeia's claim, he sent the sea monster Cetus in punishment, and so again the constellation Cetus connects, and it starts to these legends start to create the star chart, literally. So a story becomes the star chart. Now, Andromeda was chained to the rock. Perseus was on his way home. He still had the severed head, and he come across Andromeda chained to the rock and become enamored to her and decided to save her. And he did that by killing the sea monster by using the severed head, which turns things to stone. So that's another classic piece of artwork. But again, the constellation shows him still holding Medusa's head, and the sea monster Cetus, which had been sent by Poseidon. So then Perseus and Andromeda were married, and they founded the Perseid dynasty of Mycenae. Perseid meteor showers is another nice connection with astronomical events in the skies. But now if we go to Charleston, West Virginia, and have a look at the Capitol building there, and this is just one example. It's like it's one of these standards in the buildings around important buildings around the world. At the end, I'm going to go through Sydney and show how Sydney, throughout Sydney, all these connect. But on the doorways, Greco-Roman gods are placed above the doorways. Inside, there's also more subtle symbolism. For instance, this corbel, which it's one of a standard in decoration, but that's actually a connection to Delphinus as well. But here in this card, we see the dome close up, and the four doorway entrances. How each of these have three of the gods amongst them. For instance, Zeus, Athena, Ceres. So now we have a close-up, and you'll see this template here is actually one which, again, goes around the world, and it might be a bit stylized, but you'll find that, for instance, when we compare it to a plaque that's on the Palais de Justice in Brussels in Belgium, thanks to Ninth Heretic for providing the photo, we see more clearly the helmet, the bubo, the owl, but beginning with the Gorgon. So again, that's the legend of Perseus begins, of course, with the Gorgon's an important part. Now, during Perseus's quest, Zeus ordered Athena to send him her owl, Bubo, to assist. Athena, wisdom, and the owl being also an ancient symbol of wisdom. Athena didn't want to be parted with her owl, so she asked Vulcan, or Hephaestus, the god of fire, to make a mechanical copy. And in the original film, we see it was included. In the newer film, they excluded this part, but Athena and wisdom symbolism. Also on the QVB building, we'll see on the York Street side, hidden is the owl. We can also see the same symbolism in Washington, with Columbia protecting science and industry on the Smithsonian Arts and Industries building. It's across the world, but just have a few examples. And staying in America, in Rochester, the Rush Reese Library, we have Athena, the shield being, as with earlier photo from Sydney, but the shield and Athena being classic examples. But also here we can see the zodiac, also featuring the owl just over there. I've got a little marker there to indicate it. Also staying in Rochester, we have a sculpture of Mercury, and only seen from the top, but you can see how he's standing on Medusa. So this is on a building top. Only some people would have access to this picture. But again, the same symbols going over. And in a couple of videos ago, I discussed Eduardo Paolozzi, and Vulcan and Cyclops. Vulcan made the owl using the Cyclops as his assistant. So Bubo in Belgium, Bubo in Charleston, West Virginia, Capitol building, but it carries on. So even the helmet there, the helmet of Hades, the god of the underworld, some Pluto or Orcus as well, and the sword. So they're a little bit concealed, but we see the sword handles, adamantine sword given to Perseus by Zeus. So this Perseus legend also, Poseidon was the one who sent Cetus, the sea creature, which was causing the trouble regarding Andromeda. We see even the trident there. So this symbolism is clearly very important. Now, staying on the Capitol building in West Virginia, each of the doorways has these busts of various Greek gods, and we can again, in a second we'll go through those, but again, connecting to Delphinus, the dolphin. So these corbels, this design, you'll find that it's a cunning way of hiding this the Delphinus symbolism, which connects to Neptune, and once again a connection to Perseus. But over to Brussels and in Waranda Park, we see there's a baby Hermes, again the Diana, the moon goddess, or Artemis. And just across the street is the pediment there, which has the Athena, Zeus, and even the sun rays of Apollo. So these are the sort of hidden in plain sight, but they have very strong connections to the constellations and also the legend of Perseus. And this mythology contains a lot of information, many layers. But so here we have the family tree, and using the West Virginia Capitol building as an example, one of the busts on the doorway is Zeus. His brother Poseidon or Neptune is also there, and Hades, of course, on the dome. We had the helmet of Hades. Again, these are all connected straight back to the mythology of Perseus. Also Demeter or Ceres, basically the agriculture goddess, to do especially with agriculture, and Hestia, which was the goddess of the household, especially the goddess of the hearth. So the fire inside the home had to do with Hestia. Again, the busts above the doorways include Perseus. We'll also have, again, Athena being connected and depicted in Charleston, West Virginia. And remember, she was she was ordered by Zeus to send Bubo the owl to aid Perseus, and she had Hephaestus, or Vulcan, the Greek god of metallurgy and of fire, Vulcan as in volcanism. Also, Mercury is depicted on that doorway, and so again, especially through the clash of the Titans and the legends of Perseus, we find this symbolism throughout architecture, Hermetic architecture across the world. So the Gorgon and Perseus, and also Bubo the owl connecting to Athena and to Hephaestus. So again, it's through the story and legend the knowledge emerges. The same pattern, the same symbolism we can also find in Brisbane, Australia, the Town Hall building. Again, we'll see